You've probably heard it a million times. Just be more confident. If it were that easy, we'd all be doing it, right? The thing is, real confidence, it isn't some switch you can just flip. It's a skill. It's something you build. So in this explainer, we're going to give you the actual blueprint. We are moving past the fluffy advice and handing you a proven, practical toolkit you can start using today to build confidence that's, well, unbreakable. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to pull back the curtain on the confidence trap. That's the vicious cycle that keeps so many of us stuck. Then, we'll get into the science of how to actually change. After that, we'll build your cognitive toolkit, put those tools into action in the real world, and finally, show you how to kickstart an upward spiral of real, lasting confidence. All right, let's get one thing straight right from the start. If you struggle with confidence, it is not some personal flaw. It's not because something's wrong with you. What you're probably dealing with is a really common, totally understandable pattern. And the best part, once you see the pattern, you can absolutely learn how to break it. You know that feeling, right? That sense that you're just stuck. Like no matter what you do, you always end up back in that same place of anxiety and self-doubt, maybe before a big presentation or even just walking into a party. Well, that loop, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. See, it's not just a random feeling, it's an actual system. It's what psychologists call a self-maintaining vicious cycle. It's this nasty feedback loop where your thoughts, your physical feelings, and what you do all feed off of each other, creating this downward spiral that can feel pretty much impossible to escape. Let's break this cycle down. It all kicks off with a cognition, a thought, something like, I'm going to say something stupid in this meeting. That thought immediately triggers a physical feeling. Your heart starts pounding, maybe you feel a bit breathless. And what does that feeling make you do? It drives your behavior. You decide to just stay quiet to avoid the situation. And here's the real kicker. That avoidance, it confirms your original thought. Your brain goes, see, I stayed quiet and nothing bad happened. I was right to be worried. And boom, the cycle gets even stronger for next time. It's a perfect self-fueling trap. Okay, so that's the trap. But what if you had a master key that could unlock that cycle? Well, you do. And it's not some magic trick. It's backed by decades of solid scientific research. That key is called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for short. Now, don't let the technical name throw you off. The idea behind it is incredibly simple and honestly really powerful. Remember that cycle we just looked at? CBT shows us that we don't have to tackle the whole thing at once. We've got two levers we can pull to break the chain. We can either change our thoughts, that's the cognitive part, or we can change our actions, that's the behavioral part. And look, this isn't just some feel-good theory. It's one of the most studied and proven therapeutic approaches out there. Major institutions like the National Institutes of Health have reviewed countless studies that all point to the same conclusion. These techniques really, truly work for changing the exact deep-seated patterns that keep our confidence locked away. So, let's start with that first lever, our thoughts. It's time to open up the cognitive toolkit and learn how to rewrite that negative inner script that's been running the show. We all have these things called negative automatic thoughts, or NATS, and man, are they sneaky. They just pop into your head out of nowhere, completely uninvited. And in that moment, they feel 100% true. If your brain tells you that person thinks I'm boring, it doesn't feel like an opinion. It feels like a cold, hard fact. But here's the secret. Most of the time, they're just distorted feelings disguised as facts. So, how do you fight back against a thought that feels so real? Simple. You take it to court. Let's use this example. The automatic thought, the accusation, is, he thinks I'm boring. Okay, let's look at the evidence for that thought. Well, he left the conversation. He didn't text me back. Seems bad, right? But now, let's be the defense attorney. What's the evidence against? We had a really good chat yesterday. Oh, he's actually known for being slow to reply. And wait, he came back over to say goodbye later on. Suddenly, that accusation looks pretty flimsy, doesn't it? Now, challenging your thoughts like that is a huge game changer, but it's only half the battle. To build confidence that really sticks, you have to pair it with that second lever, changing your behavior, because that's how you go out and collect new, rock-solid evidence for your courtroom. This is what we call a behavioral experiment, and it's brilliant. Check out the steps. First, you identify the negative prediction your brain is making. If I try to talk to them, it's going to be super awkward. Step 2, you design a small, safe test. Tonight, I'll just talk to my housemate while we're in the kitchen. Step 3, you measure what actually happened. We actually talked for 10 minutes. It was fine. And here's the most important part. Step 4, you update your belief based on that new data. okay, maybe my original prediction was wrong. You've just become a scientist of your own mind. And here's another really cool behavioral tool. This one is for dealing with worry. So a what-if thought pops into your head. Instead of letting it derail your entire day, you first identify it. Ah, that's a hypothetical worry. Then you postpone it. You literally tell yourself, okay, brain, I hear you. We'll worry about that tonight at 7 p.m. during my scheduled worry time. It sounds a little silly, but what it does is contain the worry to a specific block of time so it doesn't get to run your whole day. All right, theory is great, but let's get practical. We have our cognitive tools, we have our behavioral tools. Let's put them to the test in a situation that trips a lot of people up. Speaking up in a meeting. Look at the difference here. On the left, you have the low confidence approach. It's all about playing defense, right? Staying silent, censoring your own ideas, trying to be invisible. But look at the right side. The CVT-powered approach is proactive. It's about taking small, deliberate actions. You prepare one question ahead of time. You challenge that thought that your idea is stupid. You treat it like a mini experiment. It's a totally different way of showing up. So here's your toolkit for your very next meeting. Super simple, super effective. First, challenge that thought that you have nothing to add with effect. They invited me to this meeting for a reason. Second, prepare just one question. It's the easiest way to get into the conversation. Third, listen actively. Don't listen for a chance to sound brilliant, just listen for a chance to support someone else's point. Each one of these is a small action that starts to break that old rusty cycle. We've covered a lot, but this last piece, this is maybe the most important of all. This isn't about one single heroic moment of courage. It's about building a new habit, one small choice at a time. I love this metaphor. Think about it. Right now, that self-doubting thought pattern in your brain is like a deep, well-worn path in a field. It's easy for your mind to go down that path. It's practically automatic. It requires no effort at all. And every single time you use one of these tools, every time you challenge a thought or run a small behavioral experiment, you are stepping off that old, worn-down path, and you are starting to stomp down the grass on a brand new one. Now, at first it's going to feel awkward. The grass is high, it takes conscious effort, but the more you walk that new path, the clearer it gets, until eventually that new path becomes the easy, automatic route for your brain to take. So if you take one thing away, let it be this. Forget about the massive, overwhelming goal of being a confident person. That's not how it works. Instead, just focus on the next small moment. Challenge one thought. Run one tiny experiment. Ask one question in that meeting. That is how real, lasting, unbreakable confidence is built. Not in one giant leap, but in 1,000 small, consistent steps in the right direction. So the only question left is, what new path will you start today? Don't just think about it. Pick one small thing, one tiny action you can take, because that single step, that's how you start building a new reality for yourself. That's where the change really begins.